All right. Welcome today to my experience podcast. And with me today is Mr. Kenny Shodende. And I'm still your host. My name is Joseph. And today we want to discuss a very important topic, especially as it concerns some of us that are coming from Nigeria. And Mr. Kenny will take us today. We share his experience with us having relocated his family from Nigeria to UK as a student, and he will share his experience because there are this um thing that a lot of people don't talk much about it. Student life in the UK. When some people say we come to the UK to study, it look like it's a bread and butter, but in actual sense, when you come here, you will know that it's hard. And Kenny, having done that with his family, it's not easy. For a single person, it's not easy, but for family, it's more harder. So we want to hear from him today. And for people who are intending to come to UK to study, they will learn one or two. So, Mr. Kenny, you're welcome to the show today. How are you?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And it's indeed an experience that needs to be talked about because I've listened to many people and sometimes people what people were told before coming is not the reality on ground. And most of the time we have to be mentally prepared
Yes.
because there's no pounds on the street of London. There's no pounds anywhere. You have to work for every pound you make here. And if you are doing that, you have to consider so many things. You have to put your family into factor. You have to put your health into factor. You have to put your situation surrounding you into factor. So, and you have to consider the law of the land because there are things we do in Nigeria and we go away with. It doesn't happen here. If you go away with it, a day will come. You'll be surprised when the book of judgment will be opened and all that. So for me, what I was told was that immediately I come into the country, there will be job. I can work from home. I can do this. So I came with that mentality that okay, irrespective of the amount I'm going to spend, I know that when I come here, I'm not a lazy man. I'm going to get a job. When I get a job, I'm going to make my money back and all that. But I was so amazed and I was disappointed that especially when you're a student, you are at disadvantage because you can't do more than 20 hours per week, and no employer wants to carry your burden on their head and be thinking, oh, you're a 20-hour worker. Okay, you can't exceed 20 hours because if you exceed 20 hours, there's a law. The employer will be slammed, and the way government has designed it, they charge them penalty in such a way that the company will feel the whatever penalty they asked to pay. A company paying £10,000, £20,000 for because of a student who is working, who they've employed, and rightfully or lawfully, and they are now paying penalty to the government in order not to because the person worked more than 20 hours, maybe 21 hours and all that. So it's quite challenging for many employers. And when they see that you're a student, they look at your visa, they tell you, we are sorry. Fine, I was still able to get some jobs, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't as easy as I was told. But I think for anybody who wants to come, the first thing is you must agree with your partner. If you're married, you have to come together with your wife and your children and tell them the reality. We are going to a new land. We are going to a place where their laws are different from our own, the way they do things and the manner which things are done. So you have to agree with your family. Like I tell people recently that, see, I tell people that come my way, I say, if you know your marriage is not strong enough, if you know there's no love, if you know your marriage is still shaking, please don't bother travel abroad. Because the reality will be done on you. Sometimes, my people will say, they say, you don't know who somebody is until money is involved. When the wife is the one that is going to school, at least it's a bit better to a large extent. The man will double his also, and But in my situation, I was one that was in school, so I had I had school fees to pay of about £9,000. I had house rent of 1,300 to pay per month. I have council tax. I was exempted as a student. I have bills to pay, gas, electricity to pay. we have to feed. So, and you can't tell the gas company or the energy company that I'm sorry, I'm a student, I can't pay. To ask about your country, nobody brought you here to come and enjoy free light or pure water. You understand what I'm saying now? So it's quite challenging if you are the man, if the man is the one that is schooling, and the wife that is the one that is a dependent. So we have to really consider, okay, how much do we have? Can we together go through this journey, irrespective of who is the student? And so I want to thank my wife for her support, for being there. She was doing 2 jobs because she needed to do that for us to be able to say true. So she was doing 2 jobs. She would come back from 2 o'clock, then go to another one from 2 to 10 and all that. So she was doing that back to back and all that. But thank God that she was able to, God gave her the strength to be able to pull through. But for me, anyone that wants to come, the question is, what are your goals? If you know that you cannot, I don't care how luxury you have lived in Nigeria. When you come to this country will humble you. And another advice I want to give to people: when you're coming, please don't be like those people that will say, sell your land, sell your property, sell this, sell that. Fine, you can sell some to raise money, but don't sell your house. If you know, I would say don't sell. But if you are sure that, okay, you're not responsible of what you made here, you are ready to face it head on, fine. But if you can avoid it, please keep your property. If you have many that want to sell some to raise funds, it's understandable. But the only one you have, all in the name of coming abroad, want to sell it, I would say, please don't do it. Because in my ad, they will say, where if the journey, if you are not back on the journey, you should be able to come back home. Yeah. So I think if you think, oh, I cannot cope, I can't tell you how many people died, how many students died, how many husbands died, because the husband was trying to do 2-3 jobs so that he could keep up with the bills. Recently, we heard that a guy went to a night shift. He came back in the morning. He dressed up. He went to another job. While he was dressing for another job, in the dressing room of the company, he slumped and he died. We have heard stories of people who came here all in the name of, oh, okay, I'm going to make the pounds. I'm going at the detriment of their health. So for me, I would tell anybody that wants to come, I have so many experiences. Sometimes a point came, I had to ask God, that God, what are you trying to do with me? If this is not your plan for me, God, I want to just speak to me, I will go back. If you look at your life, what you were doing in Nigeria, how you were living, and you're coming here to start afresh. And a point came, I had to look at my life. Okay, if over 40 years of my life, I've lived like this, and I've lived in a particular country, I understood the terrain of that country, and I was able to navigate my way. So I'm coming to another country. This is like you're starting afresh. So I think everybody should have that at the back of their mind, that I'm starting afresh. And then we can't plan a corn today and expect it to grow that same day. So when you're starting fresh, you are going to hit brick wall. Have that at the back of your mind. You are going to have challenges. You are going to have some difficulties that if care is not taken, if marriage is not strong enough, the marriage can break. If the children are not the type of children that understand situation, they can begin to call the police that we are not living well, we are not being given what we are supposed to be given. Many children have called the police on their parents because what they told them in school, that if there's anything wrong with you, tell us. If you have been bullied or have been shouted on, let us know. And some frustration sometimes will make the parent to talk the way they shouldn't talk. You beat out of annoyance, out of anger, out of frustration. Not that they wanted to do it, because they cannot beat up with some things and they are feeling. And as a man, you are feeling that you are not doing your role as a man in the house. So that will couple up together with some, thoughts. They start misbehaving and they beat their children the way they should not beat, out of anger. And we have seen situations where when the children get to school, the study will ask them, oh, maybe there's a mark on the child. Or what happened to you? They'll say, oh, my dad beat me. Then the teacher will call the social worker to come and, so many things that happened. And I think it's a lesson for anyone that wants to come abroad. You have to sit down, ask your wife, ask your partner, ask your children, this is how it is. Do you think we can go through this together? You will not complain and say, oh, okay, I brought you here to give you a lifestyle that's not palatable. That's not the situation. it's a faith. If God has asked you to come here, for me as a Christian, I would say ask God. God, is it your plan for me to travel abroad? Many people, telling you, we have poor people on the street of United Kingdom. We have poor people, homeless people. I'm telling you, and in Nigeria we have rich people. Who are, so in every country there are poor people, there are rich people. So don't be deceived that somebody said when you get here things will fall in place and everything will start working, except you have a father who has paved the way for you. Like some of us that came from backside of life and destiny, we had to trust in God and pray to God to help us, to pull us out. So if you are like me, I would say, okay, fine. We were able to save some money, quite all right. We were able to save some money before coming, but at the same time, compare your naira to pounds. Now change it be, now change. So if you are, just know what you're coming with. And the school, some people say, and the schools were even trick. They were very, how do I put it? The school were very trickish. They will ask you to do deposit, so that when you do the deposit, you'll be able to come into the country. And a point to come after 2-3 months, they start mounting pressure that you should pay the balance. I was sent. I want to say something. Continue.
Yeah, what you are saying now. No people don't really talk about that pressure that school gives students.
Yeah.
School will scare the hell out of you if you don't pay them their money. They can even threaten to withdraw your visa.
No, not that they will even threaten. Not that. See, I can tell you some of my mates that we came in together. Some of them couldn't finish their masters simply because when the time came, the school will send a mail to the home office, notifying the home office that X social person hasn't paid the school fees and that the sponsorship or the cast, we call it cast number, has been withdrawn. So on that note, before you say Jack Robinson, you get a letter from the home office giving you 60 days to go back to your country or look for another sponsorship. What school did was to give people, as a matter of fact, when I was coming, I was asked to pay 3,000. After I paid that, shortly after that, within 2 weeks, I got another email. I was in Nigeria that I had to pay additional 3,000, making 6,000. But that was not the case. I was asked to pay 3,000, but because I had already paid 3,000, I had to go look for another 3,000 to make 6,000. I think 6 months after that, about we started getting pressure. We got a mail that we should pay the balance of 9,000 within a shortest time. I had to start, as a matter of fact, because I was angry. I went to the school admin and I told them, look at, as we speak, I don't get money. What do we do? As I was talking, a Nigerian lady was there and she heard me and she called me to a second and said, bros, if you get the money, go find them. Go pay. Go look for naira and change pounds and pay. Said because this part serious. Really, they were serious. A day to the deadline, that was the day I paid. And do you know that the people that defaulted were sent mail? Their names were forwarded to the home office, and their sponsorship was withdrawn. Then some committed suicide. Not in our school. We heard of many that committed suicide. Where was somebody who had to go and look for another sponsorship and all that. So that is the case. The school would lure you to come into the country. I will use that word. So because they are into business, so when you now come, they now start giving you pressures to pay
to monster.
Yeah. So that's the situation.
That is one of the places that nobody is actually talking about, because back in the days when I think after we around 2010, there about 2009, 2010. I think there was a boom when they started to notice that Nigeria actually have money. They started to have representatives in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's
they send people to come to Nigeria from here. They make some black kids ambassador who comes to Nigeria. They sponsor them, pay their hotel to come to Nigeria, tell them the good things about the school. Then when they tell you the good things about the school, most of people who signed up, they give them scholarship on the spot. And this scholarship they talk about is a discount. They will tell you, oh, if you pay so amount, instead of paying £2, if you pay so amount, you pay £1.50. They give people that hope, and Nigeria trooped in. Then when you reach here, that school who come to Nigeria to beg you to come to study with them, they will automatically switch to Monster, and they will pressure the hell out of you. If you don't bring their money, they will send you out of this country. Just recently in Middlesbrough, some Nigerian students were sent, they were locked out of the school portals. And before you know it, they have given them 60 days to go. You see? So it look as if nobody is actually talking about this thing that is ongoing. And people will come, they will pass through these experiences and they will just bottle it up. And nobody is talking about it. Just like in your own experience now. Let's go back a little bit. Can you kind of talk a little bit, like just on the surface, what you were doing in Nigeria, so that
you see, for me, like I tell people, because I don't like injustice. I don't like being cheated. If you have to say it, at a point I told my children that, okay, if this thing does not work out, we'll go back to Nigeria. I said, do you know God has blessed us? God's blessed us enough and to a certain level before we came here. So we are not going to suffer. Maybe a month or two. I said, we'll get back on track. I told them, and they were, children, they are used to this place, because of the kind of life they've seen and the kind of education they got. I said, well, it's better to go back than to remain here and remain fugitive. That when you hear a siren, you think they are coming for you. You start running scatter. So, and I also mentioned to some of my colleagues that care to listen, I said, do you know that we have been to change? The government told us that when you come here, the school to say it, that, they never said that the balance will be paid as soon as possible. And also, even when some of us that came with our dependent, we were told that we could switch. All of a sudden, they say until you finish your master's or your program before you can switch. That was not the situation when we were coming. So somehow the policy changed without considering what was in the agreement before we came in. So I told some of my colleagues that these are the things we can take up against the government. That, okay, we were not told. What we were given was that come here with your dependent. If you get a job that can sponsor you, you can switch. But it changed the policy whilst we were still in education. So you have not fulfilled your part of the agreement. But, it is what it is. And what I was doing, I was into construction. I'm a chartered estate surveyor and valuer. And I bid for people. I do title document. I perfect landed property document for people. And in Nigeria, that's what I do. And, that is my career. But because all of us will say, okay, we want a better life for our children. Okay, let's travel abroad and all that. Depending on how rich you are, you can have a better life irrespective of where you are in the country. If you have your money, you send your children to Harvard, and they will come back. They will come from Nigeria to Harvard, and they will study. They will come back to Nigeria. But some of us just better. Okay, let's have. You can now afford Harvard. Let's try and come to Harvard with our family so that I can come and meet Harvard wherever it is. So that's why some of us, okay, let's come and because for me, if I sit down with my business, I think I didn't come here to come and look for money. If I was looking for money, I think I should sit down in Nigeria. So, but the excuse all of us give us, okay, because of our children, let them have a better life. If I cannot afford Harvard University or a good school in Nigeria that I'm going to pay. I know a school was that 10 years ago, they've been paying 1.5 million for part-time, about 10, 12 years ago. So if I want my children to have to be in that kind of environment, I must be able to say, okay, maybe I'm paying 3 million now or 4 million naira part-time in a school. So if I have 4 kids that want to pay 4 million times 4 part-time, that's like 16 million, part-time. And 16 million times 3 in a year, that's how much is that? So majorly, that's why some of us came here to say, okay, let's give them, But if you look at it, another thing you have to consider, the kind of culture they have here, the kind of liberty the children have, you have to be very careful because they allow their children to talk, to ask you questions, and because we have a culture that respects others, culture that things you don't say to elders. They are saying you don't. There are questions you don't ask. Not that you don't want to ask, but common sense will tell you that you don't ask your father such questions. But that is not here. They are free to ask you questions. They are free to say things to you, and but thank God that if you are a Christian that have raised your children to a certain level, the values that they have emulated over the years wouldn't leave them just like that. It doesn't matter that they're relocated or not, but the fact that you have trained them and you have let them know that okay, there are things you don't do, fine, they might want to copy, but at the same time, you keep reminding them. Like my father would say, remember the son of who you are. Because it's not about your environment. Don't let your environment influence you. Let them influence your environment. And I tell my children, I say, see, I take them to town centers. Yeah. I said, look at, these are the people they spoke to or they talked to when they were small that refused to listen. They are sitting outside. Yeah. These are the people that they talked to and they want. They were asked, they gave instruction to, but they refused. Now, look at them. Look at the way they are living. Is that the kind of life you want? Let them take your children out there. Let them see that in every country of the world, there are poor people. There are people that are begging. There are people that sleep on the street. So it's not by your location. Yeah. It's not by your location. The fact that you're in the United Kingdom or you're in Europe does not mean that you cannot be poor. So, excuse me. So, my experience in Nigeria was that, I can say when I'm looking for people that are doing well, I'm one of them. But we came here just because you want, so to say, that I want our children to be better and all that and all that. And the fact that they disrespect our passport as that whenever you are at any country, what's it called now? Airport. The first thing you hear, it's also passport this way. It's also passport that way, and you're looking yourself, what has gone wrong?
I was traveling. I landed in one airport like that. I was hearing, I wanted to just follow. I was just going, I hear Nigerian passport this side. I said, really?
That alone is a trauma for you, for somebody to say, we are looking at, okay, if our children grow up to hear this, won't they ask us questions when other people were trying to look for better life or to change this situation, what were you looking at?
Honestly. So do you what can you say? Because probably you are aware that there are a lot of Nigerians who is suffering in this country. Especially people who are on sponsorship. Do you have experience with this the problem that this visa sponsorship have cost a lot of people?
Yeah, it's very sad, and I've come across a couple of people who I felt that one of them spoke with me, and I felt so bad because you'll be amazed that these people doing this are even Nigerians. Nigerians doing this to Nigerians, because Nigerians will bring people in, say, will promise them jobs and all that, and when they come here, we are okay. We are trying to get jobs and all that. You hear all sort of story, and see, there's another thing that you have brought people in, and maybe you were trying to pursue a contract. Eventually, it didn't work out. There's a woman faced with this empathy and sympathy. I don't think some of Nigerians have that, because I heard the story of a guy that said he was told that go to hell and do whatever you want to do. If you like, you don't want it, you can go and you can draw the sponsorship. You don't care. And these are people that brought you in, and promised to give you a job. Now that you are here, you don't have any option. There's no going back. But I know many people have sold houses, many people have borrowed money, many people have, and they're here. Where do they go to? So, and a guy recently committed suicide because what happened? I think he came here and he was supposed to be given a shift, and there was no job, and he had bills to pay and all that. And because the shame alone, many people cannot face the shame. They would rather remain here
Yeah.
and be doing odd jobs than going back to Nigeria, pending the time they get another sponsorship. But what I would say is that if you are here on sponsorship and the employer has not given you enough job, the number one thing you can do is to, first of all, one, look for another employer.
Mhm.
If I don't get another employer, for me, I would say go to school. But if you go to school, if you apply to school and you're able to get a good, how do I put it now? You're able to get a good admission, a good tuition fee, rather, I think you're allowed to work 20 hours. That will give you a long time to stay in the country, number one. You don't become fugitive. If you are being threatened by an employer that the employer wants to withdraw your sponsorship or your license, please go to school. When you go to school, you are able to have longer time to plan for yourself. Though it might be difficult because you will not be able to do more than 20 hours. But if you are single, please do that. If you are married, it's also better for married people because when you are in school,
One person can
work fully. Just have to reach a compromise with your spouse that, okay, this is the situation, please. So I think at that point, you'll be able to. I know people who are here on student visa cannot switch until they finish their school. Also, I know some students who are trying to switch because they don't want to be stranded, don't want to do or study after their master's. What I can advise is, as you are running your master's, please look beyond your location for jobs. Check Belfast, check Ireland, check other European countries. Many people believe that, I must get job in the United Kingdom. I must be employed there. No. I mean, life is even cheaper in Ireland and Belfast and co compared to the United Kingdom. So you have to expand your scope and don't be limited to a location when you are searching for a job. If you are in your 2 months or 3 months to the end of your program, start looking for a job. Tell your employer, I will graduate also time and all that. If you have your result, some of your results, send it to them. So some employers are even willing to wait for you to complete your program. And they would have even made a room for you that as soon as you are finishing, just come and they will sponsor you. So start looking for a job. Don't wait till you finish your program before you start looking for a job. That's another mistake the student made.
Very,
Do you understand what I'm saying now? But those on sponsorship that there's no job for, the only thing I can advise is, okay, if you are still getting 20 hours, please still keep with that. Then if you can save enough, or can look, if you are married, tell your spouse that, okay, we are going to switch our license. I want to go back to school so that we have enough time and all that. Then while you are doing that in school, start looking for another job. Tell your wife to also pick up online courses. If your wife pick up online courses, she can be sponsored too. If she does online courses on some special courses and all that, while you are in school, she's picking online courses and she's also working full time, or your husband, whatever the case may be now in this situation, let somebody pick up online courses, develop your skills, enlarge your skills. Then it can be sponsored, So you can get a sponsored job that can. Don't say we have to be here illegal. That for me, I will not advise. It's not because of you, especially when you're married and you have kids. It can't be running skater. Think about your kids. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So people need to think outside the box. You need to think, okay, what can we do? There's always a way out. I tell people there's always a way out. Is whoever you talk to that matters. Talk to people. And I learned that some Nigerians are not helpful. A man was telling me yesterday, he was trying to meet me where I was. This man just came around to the United Kingdom and he met a Nigerian person and another Ghanaian guy. He said the Nigerian lady was just looking as if, who cares? Where are you? You are JJC now. Where are you coming from? But the lady could see that, okay, I'm new in this country and I'm trying to find my way. Yeah. He said the way the lady looked at him as if, I'm not in your category, just like that. And said it was the Ghanaian guy that stopped, that picked him up and brought him to the location and even used his Google map to bring him to where he was coming. Because his own phone was dead and he's new in that area. He was trying to find his way and all that. He said, was now wondering, what is the problem? And is this lady not in Nigeria? How come she was behaving like that and all that? He was telling me. I said, see, that is the situation we find ourselves. I know how many Nigerians I have tried to strike a conversation with just because we are Nigerians. And the way they push back as if you are trying to beg for money. And I'm asking myself, what is the problem? In this same country, that's another thing.
Let me help you in that. That thing, it happened to me. It happened to me. That thing is actually is a disease. Not all Nigerians, because not all Nigerians.
Yeah.
But it has happened to me. There was a place because obviously I do photography and I do films. There was a place I went to cover an event, and the lady who is organizing the event, the lady, I was recommended to her. She doesn't know me. I went there, I drove to the place, I parked my car, I went in, I set my camera up and everything. So when the event finished, do you know what this lady talked? She said I disrespected her, and it looked as if I'm new in the country, and the way I was looking, the way I was behaving. I said, really? I was shocked to know the way how our people think about each other. The people will size you.
Yeah.
I begin to wonder, being a new person in the country or not having a paper, when has it become a criteria? Actually, some of us, that is how we judge people. And the lady who was saying this thing, as if she was, if you see the car she came with, very rough car like that, and she doesn't know me. She have people will see you and just say, oh, you are a new person in the country. Because of that, they will treat you like as if you don't belong to their class, or they are better than you. Yeah, it has happened to me before.
It's terrible. It's terrible, and I know when I was going to school in London, I came across many people on the train, and I would try and talk, because if you're in Nigeria, you're all strangers here. You never can tell who can be of help to you. Little advice, little do this and all that. And and the way there was a lady I was trying to. She was even going to. I think she had about 2 months left on her post study. And at that point, I could give her 1 or 2 tips where she could get sponsorship. But because the way she was pulling back, and when I was trying to, I said, look at you, I'm not looking for a girlfriend or anything. I mean, even my wife at home, I'm still trying to be the best man to her. Yeah. And I just kept quiet, because I was going to give her some information that could help her, because she told me, oh, okay, I have 2 months, I'm considering if I'm going to go back or do another post-study or something, or pick up another master's and all that. I said, well, I was going to, but the way she was pulling back, I just kept quiet. You never can tell who can be of help to you. Don't downgrade anybody. You and I met during a training, and now I we just spoke and we connected and all that. So I tell people, see, the way God has packaged this life, God will wrap your blessing inside a capsule, very bitter capsule. If you judge the bitterness by looking at the capsule, or if you look at it because the capsule is bitter, you refuse to use it, you are just doing yourself. So some people God will bring your way. You never can tell how far God wants you to go with them. So when you treat people well, the first impression matters. They might not have anything to offer you at that instant you are meeting them. But you never can tell 5, 10, 20 years down the line. I can't tell you how many Nigerians that I've come across in this country, and I've told them, see, whatever we are doing to help is by the grace of God. Well, I'm not helping to pay me back. But I know that in this situation you are, anybody can be in this situation. I will give advice. I will tell them what they can do. I will tell, I still met one yesterday, and I told him, sir, this is what you can do. This one came on visiting, and they had about 3 months to. So I said, see, you don't overstay. Don't overstay. Do what you have to do. If you want to come back, apply legally. These are the things you can do that can give you an edge when you're applying again. And because I know that I was so grateful, was so grateful and thankful. And this is the person I'm meeting for the first time. So I think we should learn to leave an imprint wherever we are meeting for the first time. Leave an imprint. Let this person look back 5, 10 years down, like, oh, let them say, oh, I met this person so time. He told me this. Oh, he advised me. Oh, he never said, oh, okay, I don't know you are new in this country and all that. I personally, I hate it. When I see that in you, that you're trying to tell me you're better than me, and I will call you to order. I will tell you, I don't have time for nonsense. I will call you to order and I will tell you, I'm sorry. I don't care how long I've been here. It's not how long, it's how well.
Being here for long is not even.
Of course,
some people just look at it. Oh, I've got British passport. Like a sponsor, somebody who give a Nigerian,
yeah,
who give a Nigerian this sponsorship visa, looked the person in the eye and said, I'm not going to renew your sponsorship. I'm not going to give you a job. I have a British passport. If you go and report me, they won't do me anything. I say, come on. How can you say that? How can you say that? A Nigerians. So I think we will wrap it up here, and we'll keep this discussion for another time, so that so what do you have to say lastly for our audience?
Well, like I said when I started my conversation, that if you are here and you know that you are having issue with your sponsored, you're having with your employer, you're having with your, maybe as a student, please drop a comment on Mr. Joseph what's it called now, comment section. I would look at it. If there's anything we can do, we'll give you advice. These are things people pay for. People go to lawyers to pay. The advice you give don't even need a lawyer. That when I was going to renew my visa, extend my visa, the sponsored visa that we are on. People were saying, "Oh, use lawyer, do this." There are 1,001 things you can do by yourself in this country.
Yes.
So you just need to be guided. Once you are guided, you don't need to go and pay lawyer. I know people that pay lawyer to do many things for them. If I sit down in my house and I'm not saying don't pay lawyer. There are things you pay lawyers for. I'm also saying that the money you're trying to save, please talk to people around you. Ask questions. Don't assume you know everything. There are people that have been here that have experienced what you are going through. You're not going to be the first person that will go through this. So talk to people and please don't give up. Don't commit suicide. Don't slip into depression. Talk to people. And it has always been said that a problem shared is a problem half solved. So please talk to people so that we can together attain our goal.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kenny. And we are so glad to have you today. And
thank God.
Definitely come back again and offer our people some advice that will be useful, because a lot of people are struggling, going into depression, having mental health issues, which is not even being talked about. A lot of people are having mental health issues that nobody's talking about. But because we are Nigerians, we just say, okay, I can get through it. And a lot of people are going through a lot of issues. So we're definitely going to come back here and talk about this. And just drop your comment and drop whatever question you have for Mr. Kenny, and he will definitely see it. Thank you so much until we come again.
All right. Thank you.